Okay,
We're recording.
all right. We're set to go. We're live. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And our first motion is the approval of the agenda. I have a motion moved by Tom and seconded by Victor that the meeting for the regular council meeting held March 23rd, 2021 be approved as, are there any amendments?
Yes, there are. Under item number 7, under staff reports, under fire and emergency services, B-I. It's to do with the CEMCG update that Jamie's going to give.
Okay, good. Okay, nothing else. So approval of the agenda as amended. All those in favor? Am I frozen or do I not see any hands?
Yeah, they all put their hands up.
Okay, my internet's not working well, so you may have to help me there, Kathy. All right,
Sure.
so that motion is approved.
Yeah.
All right, is there any disclosure, pecuniary interest and general nature thereof of any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Instead of putting up your hands, just state your conflict.
And I didn't
No
receive.
one.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Approval of the minutes. I have a motion moved by Nikki and seconded by Bill that the minutes of the regular council meeting held March the 9th, 2021 be approved as presented. Any amendments or discussions to that motion? Okay, all those in favor?
They have their hands all up, Fran.
Okay, motion's carried. Okay. Mayor's remarks, just a few brief remarks. Again, COVID is not doing well right at the moment. Certainly locally, we are having some reports. So there are some lockdowns happening at one of our schools. Dr. Moore is saying that we're in the yellow right now, and if we're not careful, we will be going to the orange, and that's not where we want to go. Vaccination clinics, our first one with the 80-year-olds through the family health team went just extremely well. There was some very, very thankful 80-year-olds and up that attended and got their shots. And when they left, they have their appointment to come back for their second shot. So that's very positive. And as of Monday this week, there's roughly about 150 75-year-olds and up going to the Charlotte Lake Fire Hall for their vaccinations. And they too will leave with an appointment for their second shot. So we're slowly getting through the numbers of patients at the family health team. And I understand that the Invista Center and Strathcona Paper Plant right now are taking applications or appointments for 75 and up. So anybody who can get a vaccination anywhere is encouraged to do that first, not to wait. Wherever you can get one, get it. Pharmacies included. I did hear that we may be short this week on vaccines that are coming. So who knows what that means? It changes day by day. Nikki, did you have anything to add?
No, she said no, Fran.
Okay. Maybe what I'll do is take my video off, so maybe it'll improve my connection. So we'll give that a try. It's more important I see you people than you see me. All right. There's no deferred items.
No.
So we're at fire services and our activity report. I have a motion moved by Elwin and seconded by Victor that council receive for information the CFFR activity report dated March 23rd, 2021. Any discussion? Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I don't know whether you can see our hands or not, so I was just going to speak up. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Jamie, you have calls and then responses. Can you explain that to me? As to what's the difference between a call and a response?
Yep, through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald. Calls are the individual calls. And then the responses are station responses. So we might have one call, but we will have maybe 2, 3, or all 4 stations responding. So that's where you see the difference between calls and responses.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, hearing no one else. All those in favor of the motion? Kathy, do we have all the hands?
Yes, you do.
Oh, I see 3. I don't see Tom's. I see Elwin. Okay,
Yes.
motion's carried. Okay. Fireworks bylaw. Have a motion. Okay. Moved by Tom and seconded by Brent. Whereas the acting manager of emergency services fire chief presented a report on amendments to the fireworks bylaw for discussion on April 14th, 2020. And whereas the previous bylaw needed to be updated to be consistent with the fire regulations. And whereas staff have prepared a new bylaw for council to review and provide comments to staff. Now therefore be it resolved that council receive this draft fireworks bylaw and that staff bring back the bylaw at the first meeting in April for passage. Any discussion? So it gives us time to go through it and make our comments. All those in favor?
They all put their hands up for you.
Motion's carried. Okay. Bill, do you have a question?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry, you were frozen with your hand up. All right. Any questions or comments for Jamie before? Oh, it's I. We're going to do the CEMC report.
Yes.
Jamie?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and apologize for not having a written report. However, late Friday afternoon, we just update council is when we received notification of a staff member's a member of a staff member's family had tested positive. So of course we reacted due to the correlation with Land O'Lakes Public School. We also took the preemptive measures of sending staff that had ties to Land O'Lakes. We sent them home as well and closed the office so that we could properly clean and disinfect the office. Since then, all the staff have been tested or their family members have been tested, and all tests related to our staff have come back negative, which is a really good sign. We had 6 staff members that it affected. And as of this morning, all the test results were back. Land O'Lakes is still closed. They will be closed for another, I think they're another 10 days. And I'm just waiting for clarification because I've also just received word that the families that have siblings that go to GREC, those students aren't being allowed to take the bus or attend GREC. And even if the family tested negative. So I'm just waiting for clarification on that. And I was hoping to have it before council, but we're still waiting. So we still plan on opening the office back up tomorrow and move forward. That's
Any
all I
questions or comments for Jamie? Okay. All right, hearing none, we will move on then. Thank you, Jamie. Certainly the calls over the weekend when we found out this happened, Jamie moved very quickly, and with the guidance of the health unit, things happened and got answers quickly. So thanks for being on top of it. All right, we're going to move on now to Finance and Treasury. I have a motion moved by Nikki and seconded by Bill that council approve the check distribution reports totaling $405,361.90 as prepared by the treasurer. Michael's there if anyone has any questions. Seeing none. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Next, we have apportionments. So moved by Victor and seconded by Brent that council approve the following apportionments of assessment as recommended by impact for 2020 and 2021 as applicable for the following roll numbers. And there is a number of them there. Any questions or comments on any of those? Hearing none, all those in favor? Kathy, do you see all the hands? I only see 3, 4. That's enough to carry it. Carried.
Yeah, every one of them. Yeah, they all have their hands up.
Okay. Next, I have moved by Bill and seconded by Tom that council receive the 2020 council/committee remuneration and expenses as prepared by the treasurer for information. Any questions or comments on that? No comments? All those in favor?
All the hands are up.
Okay, carried. I want you to know I called the phone office. I'm getting a new modem tomorrow, which hopefully will help fix this problem. Okay, motion moved by Nikki and seconded by Elwin that council accept this investment report as prepared by the treasurer for information. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the report?
No. Looks good.
Michael, do you have any comments to add?
Not overly. I think the one investment, Keith Taylor did a good job in summarizing where the market is and where it may be going, and that it's still moving forward. I actually thank you, but we invested 60,000 into the equity this year, and I think it's done quite well. So I'd like to keep moving forward with that. I do look forward to probably a few years down the road when we get more into our cash management, cash flow, and investing more on a strategic basis versus at least net right now, we're putting some money in to get more than the bank is giving us currently. So something's better than nothing.
Right.
Very true. Go
Madam
ahead,
Mayor?
Bill.
Yes, through you to Michael. Michael, how liquid are these investments? In other words, if an emergency came along, do we have the opportunity, the ability to withdraw these funds without penalty?
We could have them out quicker than you could cut a cord of wood, probably.
Yeah, but that's you cutting it, not me.
Oh, me? Oh, yes, but then me cutting it, yes. I believe it's 48 hours through worship to Councillor McDonald.
Thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
so that's pretty fast. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, all those in favor of the motion?
One other quick comment, Madam Mayor.
Motions.
It is just that the asset management regulation 588-17, I don't know if council saw or not, but the date, like a lot of the other regulations, has been pushed back a year. So now we're ahead of the curve by 1.5 years instead of just half a year. So that's cool.
Right.
I saw that just came through, eh?
Yes, recently, this past week, I believe.
Yeah, good. Okay, so that motion passed. Everybody's hand was up?
Yes, they did.
Okay, motion's carried. All right. All right. Moving right along, we're at planning now. I have a motion moved by Bill and seconded by Victor. Whereas council formally received the third draft of the Central Frontenac official plan dated December 2020 at their December 22nd council meeting. And whereas the land use schedule map dated March 2021 for the third draft of the official plan has been completed and is attached to this report. And whereas council has held 5 open houses to engage with members of the public on a variety of policy directions in the official plan from August 2017 to August 2019. And whereas council can choose to have an additional open house or proceed to a formal public meeting as required under the Planning Act. And whereas staff are recommending that council proceed to the public meeting. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of staff and proceed with the formal public meeting as required by the Planning Act. And further, that council directs staff to prepare the public notices and circulate the draft plan to the relevant agencies and adjacent municipalities. Discussion or questions that Joe can answer for us.
Your worship, I just had a question for Joe.
Go ahead, Tom.
Joe, when will we be able to get the final draft with all the changes that were made to the OP?
Through you, Mayor. Councillor Dewey, that's the document that you received on December 22nd.
Okay, I'll have to go back and have a look at it. So the changes, but there's one change in there that a lot of people have been asking me about, is that the village of Henderson was not in that plan. And I understand that it was up to council if we wanted to add one of these small hamlets to that OP, that it would be that it could get done, but it wasn't in that draft.
So again, through you, Mayor. So when we reviewed the settlement areas that were in the existing official plan, we reviewed it within the context of the provincial policy statement and the very, very strict definition of what a settlement area entails. And that definition for places like Henderson and Elm Tree, they didn't technically meet that definition. So we as staff, to try to be as consistent as possible with the provincial policies, recommended they come out. So there is a written section in the draft plan, the December 22nd plan, that lists the settlement areas that are highlighted on the map you have in front of you today. So it doesn't include Henderson and it doesn't include Elm Tree. And I can advise council that since we released the December draft document, and you may have received calls or emails, myself and Kathy and Cindy have received either phone calls or correspondence from residents of Henderson asking why or asking it to be kept in. And I have advised them that will be a decision of council. So to be consistent with the wording in the draft plan, I haven't changed the map that you have today. It still doesn't show Henderson as a settlement area.
Right.
Council can make a decision to put it back in. When you set a date for a public meeting, I'll make sure that the residents who've contacted us, staff will, beyond the normal circulation, we will write to them and advise them and recommend that they attend that public meeting. So you can hear from them directly. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Does anyone have an issue with not putting them back in? If they want to be designated, and in actual fact, it restricts development even more. But if that's what they want, then maybe council should look at putting it back in as a settlement.
Yeah, I agree, your worship. I think, but as far as Elm Tree goes, there's actually nothing there as a hamlet, whereas Henderson has a church, a hall, and they've got a graveyard there, and and there are a number of people in that little hamlet. So I really think that we really should have at least Henderson back in. I think that's important.
I would think it would be Henderson only.
Yes, I would agree.
Does anyone else? Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, I would support the moving them back in. Now, I don't know whether this is the format that, or this meeting is where we do that, but I would have no problem of becoming a settlement area. So long as Joe could just give us a quick definition or by moving them in, would that village have any restrictions put on them that they don't otherwise have? Joe, would you be able to give us a quick update on that?
Oops,
if any.
sorry about that. Oh, my goodness. Through you, Mayor Smith. They would have some restrictions in, the rural zone permits a wide variety of uses, recognizing that across the geography of the township, there's a variety of lot sizes and conditions of lands in the rural area. So it's got a laundry list. If you look in the existing zoning bylaw, for example, the hamlet area will restrict uses to more of what would be appropriate for a village or a hamlet. So there will be less uses permitted if it's designated as a settlement area. Also recognizing at the same time, and this is certainly something that's appropriate for Henderson, the lot sizes are smaller than a lot of the rural lots. So that there could be more land use conflicts because of the small lot size, and so it is more appropriate to restrict those uses. I hope I answered your question.
And one question too, Joe, or one answer is that we know for sure that we've had comment from one household or one property up there in regards to backyard chickens.
Yes, yes.
And
one
I
person
think
wants
that
to raise, yes.
Yeah, and if they're in a settlement area, they wouldn't be allowed to have that. But in another, unless we or council decides to go ahead and allow backyard chickens. And I know you were talking about that.
Yes, so just to follow up on that, Kathy. So in the draft plan as it's written right now, there's a policy in there that council can consider allowing backyard chickens anywhere in the township. And you would do so by enacting a licensing bylaw. People would have to apply for a license, and there'd be a checklist of how big is your property, how many chickens you're restricted to, and so forth. I mean, they allow backyard chickens in the suburbs of Kingston. So it's not the end of the world. It's just that you may probably want a little more control, and that's why we're recommending you put a licensing bylaw together.
Okay.
I would, through you, Madam Mayor, I would still support them going back into a settlement area, and we can do that whatever in the next draft copy, I would think.
Okay, Victor has his hand up, I think.
Yes, he does.
Can't
Can't
hear you.
hear you, Victor.
Muted.
You're frozen.
Still can't hear you.
Try that now, Victor. You gotta love technology.
Madam Mayor, would Victor be able to just type in the chat box?
Yes.
Sure. Can anyone see or hear? Oh, there we go. Do we need to permit the chickens in the OP, or is that something that can be done in the zoning bylaw?
Through you, Mayor. So the draft official plan right now has a policy statement that says you'll consider allowing backyard chickens.
Okay.
But you'll do that through passing a licensing bylaw in the future. So you'll have to do that at some point, which is
Okay.
better than putting it in the zoning bylaw, quite frankly.
Okay, so it's in the official plan as it stands. We
It's-
just have to pass a bylaw.
Correct, yes.
Victor,
Your
is
Worship-
that,
Sorry.
okay? Go ahead,
Your
Tom.
Worship, I just want to do that. What's the process now? If we want to get Henderson back in, what's the process for us to do that? Do we have to bring that up at a council meeting as a motion, or how do we handle that?
I think it's called the stroke of the pen by the planner.
Okay, fair enough.
Through you, Mayor, my recommendation to council is we hold the public meeting and we listen to the comments that you receive from the public. Then I'll be preparing a follow-up planning report for you, along with any comments we receive. So if, for example, Henderson, we would comment that, and then a staff recommendation to put them back in. And then I'd make one final change, any number of changes to the planning, deliver it back to you for your consideration of adopting. So
Okay,
the changes will be made after the public meeting.
Fair enough.
okay.
Brent has his hand up, Fran.
Okay, Brent?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm prepared to, back having Henderson included as a settlement area. I do think, though, there is value in having the public meeting because we've already discussed there are consequences to that decision. And I think it's important that people know exactly what the consequences of taking this position is. It's important to the people who have contacted us, and I'm well aware of that. And I think that from my standpoint, I'm willing to back them, but I do think that there needs to be full disclosure as to what the consequences of what they're asking for would be. There may be assumptions that it's just the matter of preserving the integrity of the hamlet, but there's a knock-on effect. And when people want to apply for a permit or have a change, they may learn that, there are certain knock-on effects to this. So as much as I'm prepared to accept it and support it, I do think it's good that we do it in the purview of a public meeting where they have an opportunity to hear all the information.
Yes, I think you're right. I think that's very true. Okay, any other?
Madam Mayor, Bill here, just to Joe,
ahead.
I'm just wondering, do I need a license for all those wild turkeys that are in my backyard also? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Only if you put them in a pen.
Oh, well, my freezer.
You got to feed them
Okay.
too, Bill.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the motion that was read? I
Yeah,
see
all-
2 hands.
All hands.
All hands, okay. Motion's carried.
Sorry.
Thank you, Joe.
Can I
Yes,
ask, I apologize, can I ask a question? So the motion didn't include an actual date for the meeting?
No, I thought I'd let council discuss that right now, Joe.
Okay, thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
And staff are recommending that it be a standalone, like a special meeting, that you not have this not be part of a regular meeting of council like you have other public meetings, because you may have a lot of people turn out. We don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll stop talking.
I think that's wise. And I think we should probably plan it for, are we looking at April or first part of May?
Where's my calendar?
The good thing is if it's going to be by Zoom, anyone who isn't in the area can still get in by the virtual meeting. And a lot of our snowbirds didn't leave, so they're here as well.
So in April, we have the 2 council meetings, one, the 13th and the 27th. So we can go away, go other than those days. Do you want to do it towards the end of April?
What about Wednesday, the 28th?
Fine with me, Madam Mayor.
Fine
Is
with
that
me.
good for you, Joe?
Yes, that's fine. I think it'll give staff time to prepare the formal notice. We do have to, under the Planning Act, we have to send the notice out to your adjacent municipalities, conservation authorities, and so on. We have to advertise it appropriately. Want to make sure the public have lots of time.
Yeah, and we have to allow 20 days, correct?
Yes, 20 days.
Perfect.
So the 28th will work.
Can I ask what time we're looking at on the 28th?
Whatever time you wish.
Probably 4 o'clock, Joe. Is that a good time or should it be earlier? Like, I don't care.
For you, Madam Mayor, I think we're looking at, you would do better at 6 o'clock.
6
Like
o'clock?
4 o'clock's awful early. A lot of people, even though they are working at home, they are actually still working. So if you do it more towards 6 or so, you might be able to get more participants.
The only problem I see with that, Nikki, is the internet after kids are all home from school is not very good like right now.
Okay.
But
You can try it and see. We could try 6 and see how it goes.
what does everybody think? It doesn't matter to me.
Makes no difference to me either, one way or the other.
I'd be
Joe, do
willing
you
to
have a
accept
preference?
6.
Yeah.
Sure. Joe, any comment from you?
I would just say that this is an important public meeting for, you're going to listen to people's comments on your official plan, which you don't even need to look at again for another 10 years if you so wish. So I kind of agree with Councillor Gowdy's comments that 6 o'clock will make sure that everyone has a chance to participate.
Okay, all right, let's set it for 6. So 6 o'clock on the 28th.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Council Kathy and Cindy.
And that motion carried, right?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, good. All right, thanks, Joe. Now, next we have administration. And we have a bylaw closing and conveying part of a road allowance. So moved by Elwin and seconded by Tom. Whereas the applicants applied for a road closure and conveyance in 2018 for a portion of the unopened road allowance between the former townships of Oso and Olden. And whereas council closed and conveyed only a portion of the requested road allowance due to a question as to whether an adjoining property owner was entitled to an easement over Arthur Lane, the private road which crosses said unopened road allowance. And whereas council allowed the adjoining property owner a year to look into other options. And whereas the adjoining owner has not provided the township with confirmation of easement rights over said Arthur Lane in this location, and the applicants have confirmed they wish to finalize the closure. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that council pass a bylaw later in the meeting to declare parts 5 and 6, 13R 21920 surplus, and close and convey said parts to the applicants, subject to an easement for access over part 5, 13R 21920 in favor of 1039 Arthur Lane, Glennie/Lorimer, for the purchase price of $105.80 plus HST. And Cindy is here to answer any questions we might have. Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
All hands are up.
Okay, motion's carried. All right. Have a motion, purchase of land from the former CPR Railway. Moved by Brett and seconded by Tom. Whereas an application to purchase land has been received to rectify an encroachment of a house which is partially located on the former CPR Railway, now known as the K&P Trail in Clarendon. And whereas the County of Frontenac has completed trail improvements in this area, and the township is in the process of finalizing the transfer of the trail to the county. And whereas the county has been circulated with this application and has indicated the proposed land to be disposed of does not interfere with the operation of the trail. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that council declare the proposed property surplus and direct staff to proceed with the sale process with the applicants. And further, that council exempt the lands from the requirement to obtain an appraisal to determine purchase price on the condition that the applicants agree to a road widening along Schoolhouse Road, treat the lands as a lot addition, and agree to fence the rear boundary along the trail. Discussions.
Forward.
Bill, do you have a comment?
No, I am aware of this property and I have no problem with this action. I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
All hands are up.
Carried. All right. Next is Public Works, Streetscape, Public Space, and Community Design Services. Moved by Bill and seconded by Elwin. Whereas request for proposal PW 2021-02 was released on February the 26th, 2021, and closed on March 12th, 2021 for Streetscape, Public Space, and Community Design Services as required to complete the Downtown Revitalization Action Plan for Charlotte Lake. And whereas Wavefront Planning and Design, Inc. is the chosen bidder based on the review against the evaluation criteria, therefore the Public Works Manager recommends that it be accepted as the successful bidder. Now therefore it be it resolved that Council award Wavefront Planning and Design, Inc. as the successful bidder in the amount of $22,928, including HST, and that the Public Works Manager be authorized to issue a purchase order for the procurement of the service. Any discussion? This bid was middle of the road cost-wise,
Yeah, and Victor has his
but
hand
met
up.
the criteria.
Can you hear me
Okay,
now?
Victor and Tom, I think,
Yep.
yes,
Yeah,
we can.
hear you now, Victor.
Good. Yes, I had a discussion with some residents of Charlotte Lake, and they just wanted to ensure that there's going to be sort of like a public consultation as well for this, for the streetscape design. Now I know Tyson has been really great, like with the renovations to the roads, in including and talking to the residents. And I just want to ensure that that's going to happen again. And also Adriana as part of this as well. I'm sure that they will. I just want to let everyone know that I have had conversations with people that are certainly willing to participate and contribute.
I can take this, Tyson, if you'd like.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like Adriana to speak to this, but I agree with you, Victor. Go ahead, Adriana.
Thank you, Tyson. Also through you, Madam Mayor. Victor, that's great. That's really exciting to hear, for one, that people are eager to participate. So yes, as part of this streetscape, we would be working with the company to host this community design workshop. So they have done these types of things numerous times, which is great. However, I will be working with them as well as Tyson quite closely to ensure that we have tons of information available for them to consider in advance and have an interactive way of gauging their feedback, and as well following up once we have drafts of renderings and certain types of ideas that have actually come through as the priorities from this entire kind of workshop design exercise. And I will just say also, we're really leaning towards 100% Zoom because there's just so much uncertainty. So we're just going to dive right in planning it for that format. And I'll take actually some of the guidance we've just had earlier in terms of timing for that and considering the timing that most residents might need to be able to take part.
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Through
you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Adriana. Our public meeting for the infrastructure portion of the project was a success, and we did receive a lot of really good feedback from the public. And unfortunately, we can't do that in person this time. So that's where I'm really glad we've got Adriana to host something like this, because we're gonna get that kind of feedback that we're looking for from the public, even though it's gonna have to be through Zoom.
Excellent. Okay, Bill, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, to Tyson. In your three bidders, Wavefront was not the lowest. So did the one the lowest bid, if my paper is correct here, there was a $700 difference between SGL. Is it because they didn't meet the criteria that was set out in the terms of reference?
Through you, Madam Mayor, myself and Adriana, they all bidders did meet the criteria. Adriana and I decided that the second best price, they met the criteria even better. They went above and beyond.
Okay, that's good enough.
Good. Okay. No other questions or comments? I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the motion?
All hands are up.
Motion's carried. Good work.
Thank you.
Council.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Sure.
I just want to say while we have some, while Jamie's on the line, Tyson, Kathy, Cindy, given the little COVID scare we had at the office, they really left all of us feeling very confident in their cool, calm, collected way of handling that. So I just wanted to say thanks. And again, you guys are doing a great job with this ongoing COVID journey. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Adriana.
Thanks, Adriana. You're doing an excellent job.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good to hear that the group's pulling together as well as all of you folks are. Kudos from us. All right, Community Planning Advisory Committee. I have a motion that I have to change the name.
Policing advisory.
Moved by Victor and seconded by Tom, that council receive the approved minutes from the CPAC meeting held December 23rd, 2020 for information. Discussion?
Your worship, I'd just like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Tom.
For the rest of council, one of our members has resigned, and we're putting out a notice in the paper. I believe Cindy is going to be doing that this week for another member of the public to come forward if they wish to belong to the CPAC meeting. And I believe they have up until April. I can't recall the date now, but there's a date in April which we want them to submit their application, or at least their interest in it. And then we'll be making a decision going forward, because we really think we need to fill that position, because we have another year and plus to go. So.
And who was it that resigned?
Oh, it was, yeah, Alan. Yeah.
Alan Johnson.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
So when we get the replacement, we'll be bringing it back to council for approval.
Okay, great. All right. So all those in favor of the motion as read?
Hands are all.
Motions. Okay, motion's carried. Listen, Nanny's busy. I have a great grandson here who really wants some licorice, and Nanny is not here.
Oh, your worship, I may just make one quick comment too.
Sure.
Further that, we did talk about it before, but Sharon Brown, who is the current staff sergeant at Frontenac, is resigning. Is leaving as of June. She's not retiring until the end of 2021, but her actual last day of work will be June the 4th.
Yes, we're definitely going to miss Sharon. We've had a good working relationship with her, and we'll have to be sure to get a new relationship that works as well with her replacement. She's done a great job.
Yeah.
And maybe on behalf of council, I certainly can send a letter to her if you wish.
Yes, that would be nice.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, correspondence. I have a motion moved by Elwin and seconded by Victor that the following correspondence received for March 23rd, 2021 be received for information, and it's 1 to 6 in our package. Any discussion? All those in favor?
All hands are up.
Carried. I see we have Sherry joining us.
Yep, there she is.
Yes, finally. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. That's it, Sherry. Your name gets put on all the other motions that I've scratched.
I deserve
All right. Correspondence requiring action. I have a motion moved by Bill and seconded by Sherry. Whereas the province has declared that we are now in a third wave in the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas the prevalence of more contagious variants of the virus are circulating in the community and at large. And whereas Central Frontenac, together with the other Frontenac municipalities, has supported and continues to the efforts of our public health officials to curb the impact of the pandemic. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Central Frontenac support the resolution from the Township of South Frontenac, noting that it does not support or condone the conduct of our local MPP, Randy Hillier. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Premier and all municipalities in the riding of Lanark, Frontenac, Kingston. Any discussion?
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Councillor McDonald. Through you, I have no problem supporting the efforts of the public health. I really feel strongly that we need to support them, but I do have a problem supporting a letter against Randy Hillier. We're not judges and juries, so we shouldn't be judging somebody on the way they think or portray themselves. And that's where I kind of have a bit of a hesitation.
I think the only issue with that is we need to protect the health and safety of our community. And what he has been espousing is in direct conflict with what it's our duty to do. So I think it is appropriate for us to express that we don't agree with what he's saying. And this motion has come before us for support. I don't think it could hurt. I think it could say that we believe in the health and safety of wearing masks, isolating, and doing everything that the public health has suggested that we do.
Yeah,
other discussions? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. I support everything that the public health is saying. It's just the part of, yeah, okay, never mind.
And just for council to, I also received an email from Tay Valley Township, and they sent it off to South Frontenac, and they supported it as this motion as well, just so that you're aware.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, Bill here.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. In response to this, I think it is totally appropriate that we support this motion, because by being silent, if we are silent, it means we are supporting Mr. Hillier's position. And by not being vocal and supporting our, saying that we're supporting our local health directions, which in my mind, over the last year, I think the directions we've received from our various health people have been a fantastic benefit to us. And just following up that Mr. Hillier is in a position where people actually look to him for direction. So his actions, I think, have been detrimental in his own community in fighting this epidemic that we're in. So I have no problem at all whatsoever supporting this motion of not condoning his actions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Kathy, you're going to have to look. I can't see anyone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 6.
6 and opposed.
Yes, 1.
All those opposed?
Just 1.
Okay, motion's carried. Okay. All right, we have motion correspondence requiring action. Moved by Nikki and seconded by Sherry, whereas a request has been received to support the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario by advertising in their Tiny Hearts magazine. And whereas the township falls within the catchment area for this hospital and recognizes the important role it plays in the health of our youngest residents. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that staff be directed to proceed with placing an ad in the Tiny Hearts magazine for a cost of $295 plus HST. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Madam Mayor, Brent,
Sorry?
and then Bill.
Okay, Brent?
I just wanted to say on a personal note, I'm the parent of a child who had open heart surgery at CHEO many years ago, and the quality of care and the attention, not only to the needs of the patients, but to the family, is unparalleled. And I strongly support this, and obviously I hope my colleagues here do as well.
Okay. Bill?
No, I'm just raising my hand to support that. We've had experience also in the family, and so I won't say any further, but I support the motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Unanimous?
Yes, it is.
Okay, carried. They are an excellent organization. All right, road closure bylaw. Moved by Sherry and seconded by Brent, that bylaw 2021-24, being a bylaw to permanently close, declare surplus and sell part of a highway, Havert, Nettleton, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 23rd day of March 2021.
If I may just make one quick correction, just to notify council that I did make one amendment to it on the last recital clause. I had referred to section 1 and I've changed that to section 3. I just wanted to make everyone aware.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Everybody's up, their hands up.
Okay, motion's carried. Okay. There's no delegations, no public meetings. We did the bylaw. Is there any notice of motions?
None?
Is there any giving of notice of motions?
No.
Any new or other business?
No.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask a question. This morning, my neighbor went to the village and had her shot, and she, I believe, is 71. Now, I didn't realize that people that age were getting the shot yet, or how do you know about that? She must have phoned into where?
That would be into the pharmacy, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
So you phone the pharmacy and ask for an appointment?
You actually, Kathy, you've done it. You explain how it works.
Yes, what you have to do is you have to go on the link through this Sharber Lake Pharmacy. So you do it through email. That's how I had got my appointment. You go through the email and you send them an email. They will turn around and respond to you with a time and date. And then you have to confirm that and answer some COVID questions. And then they will confirm it for you and make reminders. So all you need to do, Elwin, is have someone give you a hand and go on the Sharber Lake Pharmacy's website.
The lady mentioned that she was on the phone for a long time, so I guess that's what we have to expect.
Well, that's true, because it could take a while, but that's how I did mine, is went through their website.
Okay. I have another question. Has Andy given us the report on the school in Parham as to how much we done on cleanup and repair?
No, he will be giving that report at his meeting in April. And I think we put a date on the resolution at the last council meeting. Did we not, Cindy? Yes.
Yeah, I think it was the April 13th meeting. And I believe he included back after the vandalism occurred last year. I think he did provide an update in terms of the repair costs on that. And I believe what we're doing now is just determining whether or not next steps in terms of determining it, declare it surplus.
Before we list that place for school or for sale, it's probably important that we know exactly what we have in it. And hopefully the real estate could work with us.
Well, these days, once you get an appraisal, they're the ones that really determine what the value is.
That's correct.
Anyway, that's for our April 13th meeting. That's when it's on the agenda.
If I do have one quick thing, Kathy, Donna had asked us to mention about the swim program.
Okay, because I had mentioned to her that we're not sure what things are going to happen. I know with the call we had with Dr. Moore, was it not, Fran, that you asked the questions in regards to baseball, and yes. They said, well, go ahead and take the registrations, but things change all the time, so there would be no guarantee that they could continue. So with swimming, I just said that it may be July before we know, July and August. So, and I mean, swim program usually, and I said to Donna, maybe it's best to cancel it for this year.
I think the problem, the difference between minor ball and the swim program is we need to hire folks to do the swim program, where with minor ball, it's volunteers. So minor ball will probably go ahead and register people, and then we'll wait and see at the point it's time to start playing whether we're in green, orange, red, or whatever, and be prepared to call it at that time. The problem with the swim program is we're going to offer someone summer employment that we don't know whether or not we're going to be able to provide the program.
And no one has applied yet.
Have other areas canceled their swim programs?
Yes, South Frontenac has.
So I think that's probably what we'll end up doing. Certainly right now, things are not looking good.
Right.
But again, if we can wait a bit longer to make that decision, we'll see as we go forward.
Yeah, and we may not have any instructors anyway to even continue with the program if, you know, because students are certainly looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And it may be too late.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I have a motion to go into closed session. Motion is moved by Tom and seconded by Victor, that council move into closed session pursuant to section 239(2) to discuss matters pertaining to 1, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, section 239(2)(e), and number 2, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, section 239(2)(b). Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried.
As I mentioned at the beginning, and Craig is on as an attendee, so he may not be aware of this. What we're going to do is just keep this meeting running. We'll ask you to leave the meeting, and I'm going to stop recording. When we come back into open session, I will begin live streaming it again. So the last open session will show up on the live stream recording once we're done with closed session. So that way we don't have to go in and out in different meetings. So if
we're not going anywhere.
everybody's okay with just a quick refreshment break while I make sure that the recordings are off, I would appreciate it, and I'll let you know when things are ready at my end.
Okay, so we just stay put?
Stay put.
And stay put and have a breather?
Yeah.
Okay.